Reiki energy and Reiki healing. I am so happy you hopped in for the live today. We're going to be talking about what is Reiki, how did it come to be, and what is it like to learn or experience a Reiki session. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Madison. I am a Reiki master, a medium, and an Akashic Records reader. So I do a lot of different workshops and classes. Today I'm actually teaching a Reiki class after this live. I'm coming to you from my Reiki bed here, sort of show you. And this is a little bit of cleanup from a circle that I had the other day that I still need to get cleaned up. I've been kind of doing readings around it because I thought it was cute, but it's got to come down a little bit more today. So let's get into it. I want to tell you guys sort of about how Reiki originated and a little bit about what it's like to get a Reiki session or class with me. So Reiki originated in about 100 years ago. Life force energy has always been around, and Reiki is the concept of using life force energy or high vibrational energy and allowing that high vibrational energy to flow into the crown chakra and out of the hands of the practitioner into the person that they're working on or tuning. So Reiki is founded by a man named Mikao Usui. So what I teach and practice is Usui Reiki. And within Usui Reiki, it is the concept that we can all access this high vibrational life force energy. And when we're accessing this high vibrational life force energy, we're able to take this energy to sort of self-heal mental and physical ailments or release trapped energy, whatever that looks like. So Reiki is definitely a form of metaphysical or holistic healing, and it is a really, really great way to get trapped energy that's stuck in the body to be fully released. So a lot of times we go through periods of going through trauma or stress or life change, and we have all this energy that gets trapped in the body. Maybe it gets trapped in your throat chakra and you're afraid to express yourself and speak your truth. Maybe it gets stuck in your solar plexus where you feel responsible for others, or you feel like you have no boundaries, or you feel like you take on others' pain or responsibilities. There's so many different ways that this shows up in the different chakra systems. And so Reiki is the concept of being able to go through and do a chakra scan on the person and see which chakras are open or closed, have trapped or stuck energy that need to come out, and then being able to take that trapped or stuck energy and replace it with positive energy, high vibrational energy, life force energy. In Reiki, you also learn a lot of symbols. And so in Reiki, you learn symbols for strength, for stability, for emotional support, to be able to send Reiki through distance. And all of this came through, hi Maria, thanks for tuning in today. And all this came through Mikao Usui's sort of period of, hello, hello, the great raccoon, good to see you. And so it came through this big period where Mikao Usui was in this big period of meditation, and he had this energy that rushed his third eye that was basically like, here's what life force energy is and how you can use it to help yourself and help others. Thus, Reiki was born. And so he basically spent the rest of his lifetime teaching people about the different chakras, how the chakras are these high concentrated energy points, and how energy can actually get trapped or stuck there. Whenever it does, that energy has to be kind of pulled or plucked out, and then you can go in and replace that with more high vibrational life force energy. So whenever you are learning Reiki, you learn about the chakra system, you learn what each chakra is tied to. I do practice on the traditional 7 chakra system, meaning that whenever we go through and do our chakra clearing, we're looking at the 7 different chakras. We're learning about what they are, what they're tied to, and I'll give you some examples of that. So if you're somebody who really struggles with speaking your truth or feeling like you can be vulnerable or honest, that might show up in the throat chakra. And so there can sometimes be energy blockages in the throat chakra that maybe are from religious programming, from past persecution of maybe having spiritual gifts and being persecuted for having them. There's so many different ways that throat chakra blocks can show up. And so that is really the process of being able to go in and pull out those stuck energies and then being able to replace it with something more high vibrational. So normally I go through and pull out stuck energy, and I also replace it with Reiki symbols, affirmations. All of these different ways can literally realign the energy in the body. And so when we talk about energy work, everything is energy. Everything is vibrating at different speeds. The higher the speed, the higher vibration. The lower the speed, maybe the more tied to fear or anger or frustration, that vibration. Whereas the higher frequency is tied to things like joy and creativity and love and peace and all of that, right? And so the more we're able to pull out that low vibrational energy and replace it with high vibrational energy, the more we're able to step into our purpose, the more we're able to fully step into our spiritual gifts, the more we're able to feel like we can be open and honest and authentic as our true selves. And so I first started using energy work for myself personally because I struggled with a lot of anxiety, specifically when I flew. And so I would, hello, see you in the chat there. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you found me from your scrolling. So I struggled a lot with anxiety, and so whenever I would fly, I would give myself self Reiki. And whenever I was giving myself self Reiki, I would notice it would start to make me feel more at peace, more at home. It would be a little bit easier. I'm getting no sound. Can you guys hear me? I got my sound all the way up on my end, I believe. Yep. There is sound. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys can hear me. So I started realizing I could literally give myself Reiki at any point that I was feeling any sort of emotion that needed to be maybe removed and replaced with a higher vibrational energy. So I really started to do self Reiki on myself as I was getting into situations where maybe I was a little bit anxious or uncomfortable. And a lot of times I would just kind of place my hands on my stomach or on my heart to connect with Reiki energy and start giving myself that loving and high vibrational energy. The more I started to do that, the more I noticed these feelings of peace, these feelings of really stuck emotions being able to be expressed and released throughout the body. And I really started to notice myself come into more of alignment. And so another really cool thing about Reiki is that Reiki can actually help you with different physical things as well. So the craziest thing I've ever done with Reiki is I actually had a cavity that I self-healed with Reiki energy. And this is not to say that this works every single time, or this is not to be replaced with like seeing a doctor or whatever, but I had this experience where I had a cavity. I was going on a spiritual retreat. I did not have time to get it filled. And so I literally did Reiki on it every single day for a week while I was gone. And I came back and the cavity was gone. And so it literally can do so much, and I've seen so much success in myself in Reiki. And it's really, really been cool to see the concept of just high vibrational energy be able to work to heal different mental and physical challenges that I've had. So Reiki is also something that has been used by many practitioners over the ages. So if you think about people that came like Jesus, the concept of being able to like place hands and heal, like that is all connected with the same concept of using high vibrational life force energy to literally be able to self-heal. And Reiki, I definitely think, is not talked about enough because people really don't understand how it works. It's very different than going to the doctor and getting prescribed a medication. It's more the energy work and the holistic care of doing what you need to do internally to get to that place of being able to vibrate higher, if that makes sense. So in my time of doing Reiki, I have seen a lot of people being able to release emotional blockages, have been able to release emotional pains, traumas, divorces. A lot of these things that we go through, they literally get trapped in the energy body. And until you have those things released and you take time to process them, they're just going to keep coming up over and over and over again. So that is a little bit about kind of my draw to Reiki. I've always, since I was a kid, just resonated with the concept of being able to just send light and love to people. And Reiki is the concept of actually learning how to tap into that high vibrational life force energy and be able to send it to others to provide healing, emotional support, raise their vibration, clear blockages, because a lot of physical ailments are actually caused because of trapped energy stuck in the body. So, for example, if you have a lot of sore throats, that could also be tied to an energy blockage in the throat chakra. So, there are a lot of different ways that Reiki can show up as something that really helps you to be able to move through whatever it is you're going through. I've used Reiki for anxiety, depression, helping with the addiction. If you're new here, I struggled with addiction for several years, and Reiki has been really instrumental in that practice as well. So, if you guys have any questions about Reiki, feel free to drop them in the chat. But I am glad you tuned in for this Reiki Live today. So, I teach Reiki classes. If you are interested in learning, I teach Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and Reiki Master. Today, I'm teaching a Reiki 2 class. What that consists of is we're doing a little review of the history of Reiki, the chakra system, how to connect to life force energy, how to turn your third eye on and off. And then we're actually doing practice sessions. So, actually pretending like you are the Reiki practitioner. How are you going to greet the person when they come in? What questions are you going to ask? How are you going to go in and do your chakra check and your chakra scan? How are you going to pull out energy? How are you going to put back energy? Then we kind of come back together and review what came up, what the experience was like, questions, all of that. So it's a really fun and interactive process. And in Reiki 2, we actually do plant Reiki as well. So you can do Reiki on people, plants, or animals. And so we will practice on a plant today as well. And then homework between Reiki 2 and Master is to do so many practice sessions on people, plants, animals, and then from a distance. And we'll actually touch on distance Reiki as well during Reiki 2. And distance Reiki is the concept that you can actually send that high vibrational life force energy through space, through time, from anywhere. And that is something that really helps to just allow people to experience that same Reiki healing, but from anywhere, rather than maybe feeling like they have to travel to the same place as the practitioner they feel drawn to, if that makes sense. So there is a specific Reiki distance symbol that we use for that as well. So that's really cool. And that's something that you become attuned to. And so during the process of your Reiki certifications, you become attuned to different symbols, meaning I, as somebody who have been attuned to those symbols, am giving you the ability to use and experience those symbols on yourself and on others. We also go through the Reiki principles. There are 5 Reiki principles. So really my Reiki classes are just a really big overall view of everything you need to know to be able to start practicing Reiki on yourself and others, and to feel comfortable doing appointments if you so choose to practice on others. I do have people that don't want to practice on others. They just want to learn Reiki for their own emotional regulation, and that's perfectly fine as well. A lot of times I find people who just want to do that for themselves. It's truly something that's transformational in their own healing, and it's something that really helps them to be able to regulate their nervous system on demand. So if that is something that interests you, I do offer classes normally about once a week, at least for Reiki 1, and then Reiki 2 and Master kind of depend upon how many people are sort of progressing to that next level. Normally I offer 1 or 2 classes a month for those. So today's a Reiki 2 class. I am very excited about it. And it's also a really cool way that other spiritual gifts start to come online. So sometimes when people will be doing Reiki, they might get channeled messages from that person's spirit guide. I have a friend of mine that does automatic writing through Reiki. So she'll do a Reiki session and then she'll sort of have like automatic writing messages from that person's guides. So there are so many cool ways that Reiki shows up, and that Reiki can also sort of be like an activation to other spiritual gifts coming online. So overall, it's just a fun and interactive day, and it's really cool to be able to practice with other people that have had a little bit of experience. And whenever you're maybe having experiences or things come up in Reiki that you're not sure what to do about, it's cool to kind of have that sounding board as well. So, if you come in for a Reiki class, that's a little bit about what it looks like. The classes are 5 hours, so it is a full, pretty much a day of being immersed in the Reiki energy, which is just incredible. If you come in for a Reiki session, then that looks like you coming here and laying on my Reiki bed that I'm currently coming to you on. Before we get started, normally I do a little bit of an assessment, anywhere that you're struggling, anywhere that on the body that might have been causing you pain, anything that's going on in the mind that might be occupying a lot of space. And it's just whatever you want to share, right? If you're like, I just want this session, I don't want to share anything, that's cool too. But I do a little bit of a get to know you kind of conversation. Then you lay down on the Reiki bed, and I go through all of the chakras, pull out any trapped or stuck energy, replace it with high vibrational energy. And normally I also put some affirmations in there. So I might go through, if I notice that you have a block in your third eye, or maybe you're really spiritually gifted, but you're feeling a little bit unsure about if your gifts are real or strong enough, or if you're good enough, I might put some affirmations in there like, my spiritual gifts are real, I am here to help others, I am a vessel for divine love. So that's another thing that's pretty interesting about what I do, is that I add that maybe jumpstart of validation for some of those chakras that are feeling a little bit out of alignment. So that is what a Reiki session looks like. Then at the end, I just give you a little overview of what came up, whether it be messages from your guides, whether it be areas where I did a little bit of work, whether it be areas where you seemed really aligned. We go through all of that at the end. So if you are interested in booking a Reiki class or a Reiki session, I would love to have you. I have my website linked in the show notes and also in my bio. And I also teach things like Akashic Records and mediumship, and have a manifestation activation workshop coming up, and I have a retreat in Sedona coming up. So if any of these things interest you, then I would love you to hop on over to my website. I also do a ton on Instagram. I'm at A Holistic Awakening on Instagram as well. So if you want to see more behind the scenes of what I'm up to day to day, would love to have you over there. On this channel, I am doing these lives every day for the next, I'm doing a 31-day challenge. I think this is day 6 or 7. So we've got another like at least 3 weeks of me coming on and doing these lives every day to talk to you guys about the different modalities that I work with. So I hope that you will join me for tomorrow's live, and I will see you there.